Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm really excited about today's video, not just because we will be making something really delicious and easy, but it's also going to be my first zero waste cooking tutorial, and I really want to get in the habit of posting these more often. If you're interested in content relating to a zero waste lifestyle, I post a lot of things like that on my Instagram, which I will link below if you want to check me out on there. But today it is all about the tie-dye vegan lime cheesecake. I think I said that right. Tie-dye vegan lime cheesecake, yes. I posted a photo of this a couple months ago and got so many questions on it, so I thought it was time to finally do a tutorial. This is a really great dessert if you want to make something a little bit on the healthier side. It contains no processed sugar and all natural ingredients, and I think you're gonna be really surprised on how easy it is to actually make. As someone who previously really liked cheesecake, I think this is comparable and equally satisfying. So let's go ahead and get started. These are all of our ingredients over here. We have some raw almonds, some raw walnuts, Medjool dates, a lemon, sea salt, a couple of limes, vanilla extract, organic coconut oil, raw cashews, maple syrup, coconut cream, which is actually going to be that dense layer that you see at the top. This is homemade, and I did film a video on how to make this, which hopefully will be edited before my cheesecake video goes live, so I will post a link to that below. You can also use store-bought coconut cream. It really doesn't matter, but my personal preference is that this tastes a lot better and it's really easy to make. The final ingredient that we will need to make our tie-dye design is going to be some spirulina powder, which you can find at any health food store. All of my ingredients were purchased zero waste, which means they either came from bulk food bins, the produce aisle, or they are in recyclable or reusable containers. If you're interested in getting into a lower waste lifestyle, I'll post some tips on grocery shopping below in the description box. These cotton bags always come in really handy. They're washable, and you can basically take them to any health food store that has bulk bins and fill them yourself instead of using a single-use plastic bag. So this is everything we need, and we're gonna get started on our cheesecake. The first thing we want to do before we do anything else is soak our cashews. So I'm adding 3 cups of cashews to a bowl, and I'm going to add a lot of hot water on top of them until they're fully submerged. You could also soak these overnight, but I prefer to just do a quick soak before. If you're using the hot water method, you ideally want to soak these for about 15 to 20 minutes before you use them. So for right now, we're going to set these aside. Next, we're going to make our crust. So I'm adding half of a cup of raw almonds to a food processor, and I'm going to pulse these gently until they're broken up. We added the almonds first because they are the hardest nut, and now we are going to add half of a cup of walnuts, and I'm going to pulse those again together until the texture is crumbly and fine. And now I can go ahead and add my sea salt and my Medjool dates. Okay, I totally forgot to mention this, but make sure you remove the pits from your dates before adding them to the food processor. I forgot to do this. I don't know how. It's never happened before, but I guess I was just so focused on the video. It's okay though, because I grabbed them just in time. But you obviously don't want to be eating pits or fragments of pits, so make sure you do that before you add your dates. So right now our crust is looking perfect. You can see that when I squeeze it together, it is sticking. Next, I'm going to lightly grease an 8-inch spring-loaded pan. And I like to do this by just adding like a couple drops of coconut oil and using my fingertips to just go around the bottom and the edges. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and add your crust. And then you want to gently press it down until there is an even coating on the bottom of your pan. This is a really strangely satisfying thing. And when it looks pretty even, you can go ahead and stick this in your freezer while you make your filling. Now in a small saucepan, you want to combine your coconut oil and your maple syrup and heat them on low until they are in liquid form. So that was 1/3 cup of coconut oil and half of a cup of maple syrup. Turn that on low. Once that's liquid, you can turn your heat off. Using a grater, I'm going to zest one of my limes. Just gonna stick that to the side for a second. And I'm going to squeeze the juice from both of my limes and my lemon. So this is the juice from 1 lemon and 2 limes, and I'm going to add that to a high-powered blender. And now I'm pretty much going to add all of my other ingredients except my spirulina. So my zest, maple syrup and coconut oil, vanilla extract. I'm also going to add all of my cashews, and I already strained these to remove the excess water. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Alright, that was pretty good. When it comes to the coconut cream, you want to add the thickest part, which is going to look like this. I'm going to use 1 cup of that, and then I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of the liquid. By the way, I secretly love eating this by itself. So good. So here we have 1 cup of the solid coconut cream, and about a 1/4 cup of the liquid that is underneath the coconut cream. This is basically just like skim coconut milk. Now we want to blend this on high until it's really smooth and creamy. And if you find that you're having issues with that, you can add a little bit of additional liquid or coconut cream to make that easier. When it's done, it should be very, very smooth and creamy. It almost looks like, I don't know, pasta sauce, like Alfredo sauce or something. Removing my crust from the freezer. Okay, so I'm going to pour almost all of this mixture into my pan, and I'm going to reserve just a little bit so that we can do our tie-dye design. You really only need like a couple of tablespoons, so you should be able to kind of like scoop what you need out from the blender, so we'll reserve that. And then using a spatula, I'm just going to smooth the top out. Okay, so that looks perfect. I'm going to scoop out the residual mixture into just a measuring cup. I prefer this one because it kind of has that spout at the top, which makes it easy to pour from. All right, so here comes the fun part. I'm going to add a little bit of spirulina powder to what's left, maybe about like 1/2 teaspoon to start, and mix it up. Also, if you're concerned that the spirulina will make it taste bad, it's such a small amount that just goes on the top, you really won't be able to taste it at all. So you just want to incorporate that really well, and I'm going to add a little bit more liquid just to thin it out. So I added just a little bit more of that liquid from my coconut cream. We just want it to be like a slightly pourable consistency. Okay, final part is doing our design on the top, and I'm a little bit nervous to do this with one hand, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. Usually what I try to do is kind of a spiral to the center, and you wanna make sure that this is pouring out just in a thin stream. You don't wanna, you know, tip your hand too much so it all comes out at once. But since I always do the spiral design, I'm gonna try something a little bit different this time, and we're just gonna see how it goes. Okay. So we have a circle. Ooh, that's okay. And I'm gonna do a circle inside of that, and a little circle inside of that. There, okay. So right now you're thinking this looks bad, but in a minute it's gonna look amazing. And now I'm going to take a stainless steel toothpick. You could also use a regular toothpick, but we're doing the zero waste version. And from the center, I'm going to go out like that. And just keep doing that all the way around. Okay, starting to look pretty cool. Wiping my toothpick off as I go. I feel like I'm really killing it with one hand, guys. Okay. I guess I wouldn't really call this tie-dye. It's more like a spider web kind of look, but I don't know. It kind of looks tie-dye. I'm gonna go back and do a line in between every line because I'm feeling pretty ambitious. Obviously, this does not have to be perfect. Now we just need to let it set. And this is a no-bake cheesecake, so we're just going to put this in the freezer for a few hours until it firms up. All right, so this guy's going in here. Luckily, I made one last night that's already finished, so we can do a taste test. All right, so got my beeswax wrap, which by the way is amazing. If you don't use honey or bee products, I'm sure there's some sort of alternative. And if you do, you can actually make this at home. It's really easy. I will be doing a tutorial at some point, but basically this functions as like plastic wrap or aluminum foil, except that it's reusable and biodegradable, which is awesome. Let's check it out. Beautiful. And to remove the sides, all you need to do with these spring-loaded pans is pop the little latch open, and then very gently it should separate from the edges, and then you can just lift up very carefully. Okay, I've made this before, so I already knew it was really good, but it's really good. I highly encourage you guys to give this a try. Even if you're new to like vegan cooking, this is a pretty simple recipe, and if you don't feel confident doing the design on the top, you can totally leave that part out. I like to store this in the freezer because then it's on the firmer side. So when you take it out, you will usually need to thaw it for a couple of minutes. The full recipe will be listed in the description box, as well as anything I mentioned in this video. So definitely check that out if you have any questions. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in my next video, and I will talk to you then.